Hello, everybody, and we are joined tonight by the creative director and founder of the excellent Bitmap Books, Mr. Sam Dyer. Hello, Sam.
Hi guys, how you doing?
We're all good. We're all good. I think we were telling you off air that we're both very much collectors of your books. People will see on the video, or if it isn't blurred out, I have the point and click one, which is fantastic piece of graphic art and interviews and whatnot. So we've got plenty of questions for you tonight. And
Great.
Yeah. And I have a number of books. The Game Boy one and the games that weren't, which is a fantastic insight.
That's on next on my list, that one. So
really cool.
So how Bitmap Books is basically is as I said, you founded it. So what led you to create it? What was your career before it? What was your qualifications?
Well, it all started really. My sort of love for art was when I was about 9 or 10 when I first got a Commodore 64, and I was always obviously loved the games, but I was always in love with the graphics as well. And like on the Commodore 64, we used to get the loading screens, and I just used to be like, as a kid, just sort of like mesmerized by these loading screens, because obviously you sort of have to stare at them for 5 minutes or so as the game loaded. Looking back, they're obviously quite primitive now, but at the time I just thought it was incredible. One that sticks out in my mind particularly is the one for RoboCop. Just remember seeing that, thinking like, how the hell have they managed to get it looking like RoboCop on this with a few coloured like rectangles? But so it all sort of started. Yeah, so it all sort of started there, really. But then I never actually went into game development, which is a bit weird because I've always been into games. So I went down the graphic design route. Okay. So
that was sort of our next question: is are you a retro gamer? What systems do you? I mean, do you play modern games as well nowadays?
I don't get a lot of time to play games nowadays. Really, Bitmap Books takes up a lot of my time. But when I do play games, it's mainly with my son on his Switch. So he's into a lot of like the Mario games. Most recently, we played. If anybody hasn't played Luigi's Mansion 3, I know it's a few years old now, but in co-op mode, it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, me and Tommy played that for days and days and days throughout lockdown. It was fantastic. It's brilliant game.
Yeah, we're very much a dad podcast here. So we know the difficulty of getting in those few minutes of gaming, and sometimes great memories though making with your children.
I did pinch his Switch and started playing Axiom Verge 2. That was probably a couple of years ago now, actually, because I really enjoyed the first one. But it just times my enemy a little bit, really. And I always sort of, to be honest, end up coming back to retro gaming because that's where that's where it all started for me, really.
Well, I think funny, Tom was going to say, I think funny enough, saying about RoboCop.
Yeah, we interviewed Bill Harbison last week.
Oh,
who did the artwork. So
I think who is actually interviewed in some of your books as well. I believe.
Yeah, he is in the Spectrum book. And the Amiga book. Yeah, Bill's great.
Yeah, great guy, and he recently redid the artwork from the loading screen for RoboCop. So he
30th anniversary.
Yeah. So couldn't convince him to do an Amstrad though. So what's next? So what's your favorite book that you've released so far? And from a fan perspective, what's your favorite in terms of the creative process as well as the actual book that you've released?
Can I choose two?
Yes.
I'm sure we can allow that.
For quite different reasons. So probably from a pure, and because I'm a massive fan of the genre, the point and click book was really quite a self-indulgent project for me because it's my favorite genre of game, and I got to, conceptualize the book, design it, work with writers to do interviews and hunt people down and all sorts. It was a real labour of love, but it was a pleasure to work on that project. So I think from an enjoyment point of view, that book definitely, I'm very proud of how it turned out. I think from a content point of view, I'm really proud of the Metal Slug and King of Fighters books.
Yeah, really nice.
And because there was a lot of pressure on me to do with those books, because obviously they're working directly with SNK, and the King of Fighters in particular is their sort of, their jewel in their crown, and to be trusted with doing a book, and the amount of research involved in it and telling the story had to be really organized and really structured, and you had to think about it a lot. So I think from so slightly different to the point and click book. I do still like the way that those books look, but I think it's more like the content that I'm most proud of, like how it was all pulled together.
I think for things like King of Fighters, like you said as well, you have very, very extremely dedicated fans who are looking for
pressure.
Every single little tiny bit of information to be accurate and informative, and I'll say point and click. All I can say from that perspective is the content of it is. We'll get into more of it, but later. But wow, it's quality and information. But so do you feel the modern gaming industry with obviously nowadays it's all about microtransactions and $1 billion, $69 billion on Activision Blizzard. Do you think there's more content in the future for these books? And what modern stories would you like to create a book for, do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think there's definitely scope to cover, for example, something like Final Fantasy that has like moderns in the series, but also obviously sort of the retro side of things as well. So I'd love to work on something like that, which would cover a huge era of gaming. I mean, I suppose at the moment, what's interesting about the Nintendo 64 is that sort of 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't say that there was a massive amount of people nostalgic for that system, but there's obviously a lot of people, in their sort of mid-30s now that probably had that when they were younger and when they were growing up as their first computer, which makes me feel a bit old. But so it almost brings that into play as something which we can cover. And I think, the same will be said for like the PS1 and the Xbox and eventually like the Xbox 360. So I think to answer your question, I think as time goes on, I think more and more modern systems will become like retro and probably retro with obviously in sort of inverted commas, but something that I'll probably look to sort of cover. I mean, even like the Wii U, in 15, 20 years, who knows?
Our other host, Martin, will be very pleased to hear that because he's a Wii U is his retro console of choice, even though it's still quite modern. He's also a SNES player, but he still regularly plays his Wii U, possibly the most. So hey, if that's on the cards, maybe at some point in the future, he will be over the moon. Yes.
So you've had some of the most iconic video game superstars in your books, interviews, forewords. Is there anyone that you were particularly starstruck by, or anyone that you are dying to meet and interview moving forward?
I wouldn't say I've been starstruck by anyone. I think there's been some people that we've interviewed that I've looked at their games when I was a kid, and it sort of blows your mind a little bit that you used to play their games and now you're speaking to them, and it's so from that aspect it's pretty crazy. So I think probably when doing the point and click book, people like Ron Gilbert, getting him on board to do an interview. I mean, just the amount of hours spent playing Monkey Island as a kid, as a early teenager, was just insane. And then to to speak to him was amazing. And obviously, you can't do a point and click book without Ron Gilbert in there as well. Getting Gary Whitta to do the foreword in that book as well was, he's not like mega famous, but he has sort of worked on Star Wars movie, and he's very well known in the industry. That's so cool. I mean, there's been so many. I mean, one of the biggest, probably most famous names was when the Stamper brothers agreed to chat when we were doing the ZX Spectrum book.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're well known for sort of not doing interviews or talking, and I think we just got really lucky that they suddenly agreed that they do some words for that book. So that was like, wow, that felt like a real big moment. And to kind of answer your last question, probably to get those guys would be a dream project. If we could get the Stamp Brothers to, like a book about the history of Ultimate and then Rare, would just be like another dream project for me. That would be unreal. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I think my favourite story was Jim Walls, who made the police.
Yeah,
because he was not a games creator, and yet and then his career was then games development. So it was a really interesting story, and one that I didn't know. I just presumed it was another, to do with King's Quest and all that kind of thing. There wasn't anybody like that behind it, but that's the kind of interview that's obviously I won't reveal everything that's in the book, but they're very informative. I love reading through it again at the moment. So is there any subjects that have been sort of your white whale that you, I suppose we just talked about it, is that you'd love to do the Stamper Brothers. Is there any other subjects that you might be able to, that you would dream of doing?
Yeah, I think definitely the Stamper Brothers would be a book I'd love to do. I'd like to do more on point and click games, getting a bit more deeper into something like Monkey Island, for example, really looking at the series, focusing just on that. I'd like to do. There's so many. I'd like to do a book, more books on the Amiga. That was something which we've only really scratched the surface on. And then obviously the Holy Grail, which is Nintendo. I mean, it's very tricky because obviously they have their own publishers that they work with exclusively. But I mean, I'd love to do like a book on like Zelda, for example, like in the style that we did the Metal Slug book. Interviewing all that would just be unreal to do that. It would just be so cool.
And a good excuse to go to Japan on holiday.
Maybe one day. We've all got a dream.
This is it. Funny enough, one of the things I was recently doing was looking around to find a book on the 80s microcomputer, sort of the Spectrums, the Commodores, the Amstrad, things like that. And although there are some books out there isn't a specific one that goes into the detail of, the bedroom developers, the W.H. Smith buyers, things like that. You can obviously go to documentaries, but there's not actually a specific book that really goes into that detail. And I think that's such a shame. And I've looked high and low, and it's just not there.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that is something.
I mean, the books are very informative. I mean, I'll just show this is a proper hefty book, the point and click. So the fact that there's more information out there, I suppose it's one of these subjects where there's always more information.
Yeah.
You could do a 10,000 page book and there'd probably still be something that you could talk about.
Absolutely.
So I think we have another question here, which again, you have your next book is the N64, a Visual Compendium, I do believe.
Yes.
Coming out.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, obviously, what books do you actually have in the pipeline in the future? Maybe can we get a little sneak preview other than the N64 one?
Yeah. So obviously, N64 is next. That's the next in the Visual Compendium series, and the first, which is exclusively on a 3D console rather than sort of 2D pixels. So that's been a big learning curve. Quite interesting, sort of designing that book. We've got a book coming out in May, which is going to be, I don't know if you've seen, we've released a book a couple of years ago called Go Straight, which is on scrolling beat 'em up games.
Okay, yeah.
So that author, Dave Cook, he's just written a book on run and gun games.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
Contra and a bit of Metal Slug and Gunstar Heroes and all that good stuff.
I love
Love
it.
Gunstar.
Gunstar Heroes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic game. Still is a fantastic game. I think I played that recently. Excellent. So but yeah, we could expect
May or June.
Expect the N64 Visual Compendium. That's hopefully coming out 4th of March.
That's correct. Yeah, 4th of March. Orders are going to open for that.
So visit Bitmap Books, guys, and get your orders in for that one.
Bitmapbooks.com.
Is there any magazines or artists, authors' books that inspire you? Be it, I know you mentioned some of the artwork from the old games on the Commodore, but is there anything now that inspires you in the work that you do?
That's a tricky question. I suppose in like the modern day, I mean, obviously, like magazines aren't really a thing anymore. I think I wouldn't necessarily they inspire what I do day to day, but I am incredibly inspired, like creatively, by these guys who do like modern pixel art.
Yeah,
you see on like indie games and also stuff on Twitter and all those sorts of places. Just I had my mind blown when I was 9-10 years old looking at RoboCop, but also what you see, what these guys are doing nowadays is unreal as well. So I find that very, very inspiring, and it makes me sad that that I'm rubbish at doing it.
We were talking recently. There was Tom was playing a game that was basically a Game Boy RoboCop versus Predator, wasn't it? I think
that was it. Yeah,
and it was just one guy had created a pixel art game. And it's fantastic. There's even though individually it's a very basic picture, just the ability to make it, especially for us ones who remember when those were the pinnacle of graphics. It's amazing, I think. So, excellent. Well, as I've said quite a few times now, I own the point and click book, and it's the first thing you notice when you hold it is the build quality. It's a fantastically built book, and then when you open it, it's full of pictures, pages with information on, but then it's got full page interviews, but it never feels like it's too much. You never feel like you're reading a comic book, but you never feel like you're reading just a wall of text. It's always interesting. So is it quite hard to balance that, because you are the person that puts it all together? And does each book have its own style, or can I expect this style in the Spectrum book or the N64 book?
Yeah, so each book has got its own style. I suppose that's just the designer in me, and the factors that I want to do. Every book I approach with fresh eyes, and I do choose the best design and structure for it based on the content that I've got, rather than falling in. I'd just be so bored to fall into like a house style each time. It would just I'd find that quite dull. So like with the point and click book, that really what I was trying to do is, like you say, obviously some of the interviews are quite wordy, but we do break it up with pictures to try and make it feel a little bit less like walls of text. But then you have like to change the pace, you have some double page images of single games, which with like sort of 50 words of text. So you're constantly sort of changing it up, and so the reader doesn't feel like Yeah,
Well, I
it's
think
too much text.
you've done a very good job. I am somebody who has lapsed in his reading as he's got older, especially now with children. And this got me back reading. So
great.
it's fantastic book. I've recommended it to many people, and those that aren't interested in point and click, I'm like, yeah, but they do ones about this and this and this and this and this. And so I've, don't worry, I'm not asking for any kind of commission. But no, it's a fantastic book.
Really is.
And I can't wait. It's my birthday in May. I've already asked my dad for the Spectrum one. So
nice.
hopefully I shall be getting that, and I shall become more informed about the Spectrum. But yeah, everybody should go to it. It's quite easy. Bitmapbooks.com, and the N64, a Visual Compendium, as we said, is out 4th of March. Fingers crossed. And yeah, get on the website and have a look. So, on that note, Mr. Sam Dyer, thank you very much for coming on. And,
Thanks very much, Sam.
And yeah, we hope to enjoy more of your books.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, and welcome to the second part of the Gaming Pubcast there. So we just had an interview, or I should say, not myself, but Duncan and Tom just had an interview there with Sam Dyer, the creator of the Bitmap Books. If you haven't got yourself a Bitmap book, have a look, because they are really, really good.
They are fantastic.
I'm not just saying that because Duncan and Tom had an interview, but there's so much, again, so much detail. Pictures,
yeah, they're fantastic books. Fantastic. I just looked over the interview, and I do waffle on a bit, but yeah, they are actually really good books.
I was having a look at the Nintendo 64 one, being a console that I really liked when I was growing up, and he's got interviews there with the Stamper brothers, who obviously did the Rare games, and
that one's their new one that's
you. I know. So you don't want to go too much into it, because you see the interviews just happened, and I'm sure you've just chatted about that. But I know you've got a book yourself. I know Tom's got a couple of books as well. So definitely
check them out. Bitmapbooks.com. Yeah, fantastic.
So thanks for doing that, Duncan. Anyway, just myself and Duncan. So I've replaced Tom. So Tom did the interview. Thanks, Tom. I've now come on just to do the rest of the podcast. So Duncan, I guess there's no point going on in terms of what I've played this week, because it's exactly the same what I've been playing the last couple of weeks, which have been sort of Tomb Raider. Done a little bit more on it, but there's not really much else to say on there. Just doing levels and missions, and side missions, and some secret dungeons, etc. But what about yourself, Duncan? What have you been playing?
I haven't played much different because I've been away from myself on holiday. But I have managed to play a few of the Game Pass games, extra compared. I am still playing Infinite Wealth, so I won't go into that. But so I've been playing Tales of Arise. I did try that for a few, maybe 2 or 3 hours. So it's a big RPG, and yeah, so I haven't touched much of it. I am finding the introduction, the sort of tutorials, are literally just a few words on the screen, and that's it. And I'm not liking how it introduces a lot of the battling and whatnot. But it looks interesting. It's an okay looking game, very cartoony. But yeah, I might give it another go, but I don't think I'll probably get that far into it. So that's Tales of Arise. This week, Bluey has come out. I haven't got to play it yet, but my little boy is very excited about playing Bluey.
It's co-op as well, isn't it, Bluey?
Is it co-op? Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Local co-op, yeah. So I was looking at it because I was thinking about my daughter, because she really likes co-op. She's 5. So it might be a good way to introduce, because she hasn't really played gaming, and I thought maybe that would be
I can see it next week being very full of Bluey.
Yeah, maybe Tom. We'll see if Tom can play a co-op with his.
Well, he's got baby and then bigger kids, so yeah.
So I'm guessing it'd be. I don't know who would be the characters. Bluey and Bingo, maybe.
I think we'd have to be the dad, wouldn't we?
Can you play the dad? Oh, hopefully. What's the dad called? Bandit, didn't he? Called Bandit.
Bandit, that's the one. Yes, I think from what I've seen, because I did check out how easy it was to get 1,000 gamer score. You have to. One of the achievements is to use all 4 characters. So who those characters are, whether they are the adults as well, I don't know. But it's so exciting, isn't it, that this this preschool game is exciting us more than other sort of day one games like Tales of Arise, and also Dead Island 2 shadow dropped this week.
Not
today,
a game to play with
Sunday.
Your son. That one.
Yeah, not really one to play with the 6-year-old, but no, I'm quite excited. I liked the first one when I played it on PC and got rid of weapon durability. I cannot. It's my one thing I hate in games is weapon durability, where you hit somebody about 3 times and that's it. Yeah, apparently, this solid baseball bat can only take 3 hits. It's really annoying. I hate it.
Like Fallout, the Fallout games, obviously. The Fallout games, you build those guns up, and then they break.
And
then you.
Yeah,
I know you can repair on, can't you?
Yeah, they lasted a bit longer in Fallout, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it still annoyed me.
And one of the things, bugbears of people of the new Zelda games is the weapon durability, because they also and some of the weapons they hardly last, and so you could be in the middle of a battle, batting someone over the head, and all of a sudden you're there.
You have to start using a stick instead.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that was a bit of a bugbear for people. I personally would prefer just games where you could just use weapon. Obviously with guns you have the ammo, don't you? But so
just make it so that it's not ridiculously ridiculous. All you're doing is trying to make new weapons, and that's all you've got to do for about 50% of the game. It just bores the hell out of me. Apparently, though, in Dead Island 2, I did look up the one time when when it first came out, I was looking at buying it, but then it turned out to be an Epic exclusive as well. So I didn't get it. But apparently there is an item you can get which can make weapons be almost invincible. So that's a bit better as far as I'm concerned. If it lasts for 10 hours of the game and then goes, your weapon's about to run out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go and find the plans for another weapon or the materials for the weapon to repair or whatever. That would be so bad. It's just like with Tears of the Kingdom or whatever, where it's bash, it's gone. So yeah, but anyway, Bluey.
Yeah,
I think we'll be reporting next week's episode on the brilliance or the boring Bluey.
Yeah, did you ever play the Peppa Pig game?
I did, and I played that with my boy. Literally, he said, because I set him up a gamer tag, he said, "Oh, can we play it on mine?" I went, "No, I want the game. I'm not going through this by myself. You can do it on Daddy's, and that's not a problem." Oh, okay then. So he played through it, and I just had to mop up a few game achievements at the end to get 1,000. So yes, I have got 1,000 gamer score on
apparently with Bluey it would take about a few hours to get the all the awards, so it should be cool.
It was pretty easy, I think, on the Peppa Pig one, because I think, is it made by the same people or that kind of thing? I don't know, but it looks like that kind of game where it's just very basic activities. So we'll find out soon when we get ordered to play it.
We'll have a special Bluey episode next episode. Look forward to that.
I mean, the cartoon is great, isn't it? As a parent, if people who don't have kids, don't understand that you have to watch certain things, and so there's certain cartoons or programs or whatever that you'll watch and be like, I can stand watching that. But then there are some that are just that bit better, and you're like, I actually quite enjoy that.
Yeah,
And Bluey
is one of the
them.
better ones, definitely. It's better than Peppa Pig, I'll say that.
Definitely.
There are ones which
we were a Hey Dougie house as well.
Yeah, Hey Dougie's really good as well. I like that one. So the
Romy.
sticks on of us.
Oh yes, my brother-in-law. I'll find out if he's listening to this. Probably not, but he bought my son a plushy stick that when you pressed it, played the stick song. Oh God, I could have killed him. It was just constant stick, sticky. Oh look, it's finished. I'll start it up again. Stick. No, it was a lovely present, very thoughtful, but so annoying. But hilarious.
So, in terms of, because I know before we had this week, because we had the interview, so we were thinking this part of the podcast won't be that long. We're like looking like quite a slow news week for gaming, and then all of a sudden today, a lot of quite happened, hasn't it? So
I think I'll leave it up to you for the big gaming DLC.
Yes, so Elden Ring was confirmed, wasn't it? The what was it called? The Shadow of the Erdtree, and that's going to be out in June. I had a quick look at the trailer just before, and I know, Duncan, you're not the biggest fan of From Software, but even you said that the trailer looks
it looks
impressive,
outstanding. I mean, I was the one that posted it on our Facebook page, and even I put it looks epic. The huge bosses look absolutely amazing. I mean, the two that
look amazing.
The one with the lion head and the one that's on fire that basically looks like a giant wicker man.
You just know they're going to be really hard, though.
But it looks like in the trailer, it looks like a cutscene, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a big impressive first person. But then you see that giant wicker man thing actually attacking a player, and it's like, what? So yeah, I mean, if the original base game is anything to go by, this is gonna be epic, absolutely epic. So you gonna get
prices?
It? Apparently, it's £35.
Okay, because I don't actually, because I owned the original game, but that was on Steam. And I don't actually have anything I can play Steam on.
Oh no!
I know. I was hoping that I could somehow access it on my TV, but
GeForce Now.
Well,
yes, okay. You should look up whether you can get that on your TV. What brand is
your
TV?
I do have GeForce Now on my TV. Yes, it's Samsung.
There is a free. I think there is a free.
I tried to download the free one, and it said that they had a maximum capacity or something.
Yeah, with the free tier, you get an hour maximum, and you have to wait in a queue. If you pay, I think it's something like £20 a month. You can get the top tier where you don't have to wait, and you can have 4K. I think, or there might be a cheaper tier where you get 1080p, and
so you can access Steam through GeForce. Can you?
You'd have to check first, because there are some games and some developers, some publishers who don't like GeForce Now being able to install their games, because basically it was something to do with the fact that they're storing the game, and so and it was really weird. There was a couple of years ago, I think it was now, EA took all their games from availability and whatnot. A lot have come back, but so always check first.
Yeah, because I had a few games on Steam, so would be useful if there was a way of accessing those games without having to get some sort of device.
Well, there you
go. Elden Ring would be one of them. So I'll have a look at it, and then potentially.
Ooh.
Who knows? Get the DLC in June. Probably there'll be a lot of catching up I'd have to do. I haven't played the game for
if you had it on PS5, Would it be a day one purchase? Would you be like, yep, I've already pre-ordered it?
It would be probably, yeah. I imagine it's, yeah.
Explain it to the
It would
wife.
be one of those, yeah. It's one of those, you know, the when it came out initially, it was something I actually pre-ordered, which I don't usually pre-order games, but I was like, you just know it's going to be, because you always run the risk that it's not going to be as hyped up to what it is, but you just, I don't know, I just knew it was going to be good with that one.
It was all the previews and everything were like, this is going to be amazing, and it came out and it's
I think I even put
2022.
It was one of those where I was like, which
it was 2022. Elden Ring.
It was a while ago, yeah, because I hadn't had my gaming PC now for quite a while, because I got it, and then I probably had my gaming PC for about a few months after, and then I had to get rid of my gaming PC because I was moving house and stuff. So,
I mean, I could just say Steam Deck. Elden Ring runs perfectly on a Steam Deck.
It's just got the Steam Deck, isn't it?
Only about £300 and something.
Yeah, I'd have to maybe sell my PS5 and get a Steam Deck.
So if anyone listening isn't sure, Steam Deck does run Elden Ring very well. I did try it on a Steam Deck, and it works fantastically. It's just I suck at Elden Ring, so wasn't.
I think out of all the From Software games, though, that is the easiest one.
Yeah, a lot of people have told me that it's the most accessible.
And then the ones who aren't bosses, I didn't have really any issues with killing the ones, because you could just sneak up on them. There's plenty of ways of replenishing health, which that was an issue in previous games.
I've wanted to, and that's why I played it on the Steam Deck, because I was like, I so want to be able to have the time and ability to. And if I went back to Duncan 20 years ago, I did have the time and the ability, and I think just now,
the boss fights are.
I like a
really
good story.
The bosses are still really hard on Elden Ring, but the actual, I think that just the general gameplay is easier. So the other news is the Xbox, the games which we said last week. So we sort of
you called it perfectly.
It was so Grounded, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Hi-Fi Rush are the games. I think the first two are going to be Pentiment and.
Pentiment and Grounded are both coming to Switch. Sea of Thieves, those two, and Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush are coming to PlayStation 5. They have said about Hi-Fi Rush coming to the Switch, but haven't confirmed when. So I don't know whether there's issues with that. I can see Sea of Thieves, because Sea of Thieves has had a current gen upgrade, so it might be beyond the Switch's hardware by now. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's probably why. We called it, and I think there will be more. And also, I think PlayStation have rumored that they are going to be bringing more of their games to other platforms. They haven't said what games, they haven't said what platforms. I can imagine it'll be more to PC, but you never know. There might be some similar to Microsoft, sort of not quite. I don't think we're going to be seeing, Gran Turismo 7 or God of War on Xbox, but we might see some smaller sort of indie style games that are
maybe they should just start trading and say, PlayStation say, look, we'll swap you Spider-Man if you give us Indiana Jones or something like that, and then we'll let the I think consumer decide. I reckon. What would you reckon? Xbox and PlayStation 5 would they
we're not going to see any time in this generation. We're not going to see Master Chief on PlayStation 5. We're not going to see, God of Kratos on Kratos, whatever it's called, on Xbox. But in 15 years' time, there's lots of media sort of talk about that this is the end of the console exclusive. Not this news, but that Sony are softening and Microsoft very much wants things on other platforms. So, yeah, is it the end of the console exclusive? Maybe in a couple of generations' time. Yes. Hopefully, I think in the end it will be a good thing.
I can't ever see Nintendo giving up.
Yeah.
I can't see Zelda and Mario and
Zelda
Metroid,
PC port. That'd be good.
All those over on
Metroid,
PlayStation, Xbox, and PC or whatever.
But then again, I mean, who would have thought it in the 90s that you would get a Mario versus Sonic game, even though they are Olympics games that are generally rubbish. Who would have thought in the 90s, if you said to a 90s kid, do you know what, in 10 years' time, you're going to be playing the Sonic and Mario game because Sega aren't going to be in the hardware industry? They would be like, what are you smoking? Because that just wouldn't have happened. So never say never.
Exactly. Maybe in 10 years' time we'll be chatting. We'll be sat here doing gaming podcast episode 300 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then chatting about how if you said 10 years ago that Zelda would never be on Xbox.
and now it's on the Panasonic because Panasonic have re-entered or something.
Now it's on the Sega Mega Drive 7. Come back in the market.
Oh, blimey. That'd be interesting.
Maybe one episode we should do predictions for 20 years' time.
Well, I do what I like. I like the. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a Amazon Prime show called Uploaded, and it's set in the future with various technology. After you die, you get uploaded to a server, and you can live in either luxury or not if you're poor. And they all have. I don't know. It's like a ring or something, and all they do is they hold their hand out in like an L shape, or whichever way around, like like you do a loser, and a screen appears in that, and they have all sorts of like glasses or Google Glass type things that mean that they can go into these virtual worlds. But just for their day-to-day stuff, they have a screen appear like in the L shape, and they can tap, push, all sorts. Could you? That kind of ease of interaction, I think is where it'll be. That's what I would like. That's what I like. Easy to interact with. Yeah.
Well, I guess unless we get a time machine, we won't know until it happens. And the other news.
There was
Borderlands.
Yes, one more trailer, another trailer. Yeah. Now I've seen this. I don't know if you have yet, but it's the Borderlands movie. The trailer is out, the first trailer, and it's got Kate Blanchett,
Kevin Hart
as what was her name? Angel? No, yes, Angel. No, not Angel. Oh, anyway, Kate Blanchett in it. Kevin Hart. It's got Jack Black as Claptrap, the voice of Claptrap. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis, and it looks as chaotic and as ridiculous as Borderlands. Borderlands. Have you played all the Borderlands games?
Not all of them, but I have played.
You've played
a couple. No,
one and two.
How many? There are three.
There's three.
Borderlands.
Plus, you've got
all of them, but I have played all of them. Yeah,
you've also got Tales from the Borderlands.
I have played the DLCs.
You've got Borderlands. What's the Moon one? The pre-sequel, Borderlands pre-sequel. And then you got Tiny Tina's the one that was a shooter.
That's just came on PlayStation. The Tiny Tina's.
Okay. I was quite interested in playing that. I just haven't had a chance. But
I mean, the actual games are obviously quite comedic, aren't they? So I imagine the film is going to be. I haven't seen the trailer, so
it is ridiculously over the top, just like Borderlands. It's got comedy. It does seem very cheesy comedy. It's very much. It's in the style more of Borderlands 3 than 2. Borderlands 2 had some childish humor in, but it was very well done. Borderlands 3 was a bit more in your face, kind of like bro kind of humor, kind of thing, like look, that's got poo and wee in it, kind of thing. But yeah, the movie looks good. It's got
Kevin Hart and Jack Black in it, which
leave your brain at the door, and that's it. As long as they don't try and be too clever about it. But hopefully the comedy won't be too meh. But it's big budget. It's got lots of CGI, lots of Kate Blanchett jumping around sideways, shooting guns, kind of thing. It's got lots of toilet humor.
Pretty much the second movie in a row as well where Jack Black has done something computer, because he was obviously Bowser in Mario, and now he's Borderlands. So
he'll be the go-to video game voice artist.
Yeah.
Well, I believe he's a big gamer.
Going on films, it's not really kind of game related, but I never watched it. But I did see it. Did you ever watch the Dungeons and Dragons film?
The cartoon? The movie? Yes. I quite enjoyed it
because it was that looked comedic as well.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I was quite surprised that I thought it was going to be. I read reviews, and they were mixed, sort of. It's okay. I watched it. I quite enjoyed it. I thought Chris Pine was perfectly good in it. I thought the other supporting cast were very good. Hugh Grant was very Hugh Grantish. And it was very enjoyable. Whether you're a fan of D&D or whether you're just a fantasy fan or a movie buff, it's a good watch. It was never going to win the Oscars, but it was highly enjoyable. So if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it as a gamer or D&D fan.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I was quite intrigued by it. So I don't know what came into my head when we were talking about Borderlands, but
it's another sort of gaming, but in a different format, gaming movie where if it's done in the wrong way, if it's done by somebody who doesn't know D&D or is trying to do childish humor when they're a 75-year-old man or something, it ain't gonna work. But it's well written, it's okay written, it's funny, the acting's fun where it needs to be, is funny. There's some good action in there,
we've done some film reviews today, and we also did a review on Bluey as well. So not just gamers we're covering now.
Nice.
And I because of the interview, I think if we just get straight on this day, I know you saw it, quite an interesting game, Duncan, which was from yesterday.
Well, yesterday. There's two. I've just noticed another one, an even bigger one. 38 years ago, on the Famicom Disk System, was The Legend of Zelda.
Wow. Okay, that's the NES. I was a bit confused then when you said the Famicom.
I don't know. It's the Famicom. I know that the NES was the Famicom, but the Famicom Disk System.
Well, if it's 38 years ago, surely it's got to be the NES.
It must be this.
Anything else?
I'm just. I'm
just
looking at images.
Zelda will be 40.
No. Oh no! It was an actual disc add-on to the Famicom, so the NES. The family disk system adapter. Oh wow! So no, they were literally like
I did not
3.5 inch discs.
3.5 inches.
There you go. You're looking at about £300 for there's one, a Japanese one on eBay. Oh, and some of the Zelda Famicom disc system, £350. Factory sealed Japanese The Legend of Zelda Famicom disc system in Japan, £1,256. So yeah, so I think it might be a specialist one. But anyway, the big one that was on a home console that people had, Star Fox, was 31 years ago.
Yeah, I guess that was SNES. Was it SNES?
That was Super Nintendo, 1993.
Yeah, so I don't know if I played the SNES one. I played Lilac Wars. I don't know why they changed the name for.
Yeah, it was different. It was different name in different areas.
In Japan, I think it was still Star Fox 60. Or was it America where it was Star Fox 64?
Oh, it's called Star Wing, wasn't it? In the UK, in the EU.
The Nintendo 64 one was Lilac Wars, wasn't it?
Oh, was that Lilac Wars? Okay.
Yeah,
but,
I had that one. That was.
But yeah, Star Fox was called Star Wing in the EU as well. Again, why they changed it, I don't know. Because isn't he a fox?
He is a fox, yeah.
So it was. So why change it to Star Wing? Anyway,
what I think it was like a sort of 3D-ish, wasn't it, for the NES, for the SNES?
Yeah, it was very impressive for the time.
Very like cuboid-y, but it was at the time. You'd say 31 or 33, 31 years ago.
31 years ago, yes.
Yeah, quite a while back. So we'll give it. Won't be too harsh on the graphics, but
no, I mean, when it came out, it was absolutely amazing. The fact that it was when the Mega Drive did Virtua Racing. I mean, that needed an extra piece of hardware in the cartridge. I can't remember what they call it. Some kind of chip. When the home consoles doing these 3D graphics was like, wow. I mean, if you play Virtua Racing nowadays, it's not great. And Star Fox, Star Fox is okay. It's a
I mean, I played Lilac Wars not recently, but within the sort of the last couple of years, me and my friends, because it is 4-player multiplayer game, so you can all get in together and try and shoot each other down. And I think I don't know if it's co-op. I can't really remember, but it's I enjoyed it when and the other game as well, which was 25 years ago, which would be tomorrow, which was the original Silent Hill came out on PlayStation on 1999. So
such a good game. Of course, Tom's favourite game, Silent Hill 2, but I think the first one was the one I played. I think I might have completed number 2, but number 1, just the fact that they had to use the fog because of graphical limitations, but it turned into
made it scary.
The scariest sort of graphical need ever done, I think. You just didn't know what was around the corner, and there was just noises in the fog, and it was.
I think
pretty terrifying, even for a
21-year-old. Yeah, it was scarier than Resident Evil, which was obviously out a bit before, but they were out sort of similar time, weren't they? So,
the first Resident Evil had some jump scares kind of thing, and it had some, oh look, there's a zombie there kind of thing, but it wasn't actually that scary. Whereas
the cutscenes were more scary, weren't they, in Resident Evil?
Yeah, Resident Evil, when you first saw a zombie and it sort of slowly turned around kind of thing. And then you had when the dogs jumped through the
that was Silent Hill, wasn't it?
No. When you're going through one of the hallways in the.
Oh, I'm sure there is a bit in Silent Hill where there's dogs, isn't it?
Oh,
Like
probably.
a diner or something, I think, or something like that.
Oh.
And then
But yeah, and then you had Pyramid Head, you had the zombie, the nurse mannequin things. Oh yeah, it was the first proper, like horror, like psychological horror kind of with traditional horror as well that I properly played, and yeah, probably didn't sleep well that night, even though I was less of a wuss. Yeah, I think I played it with friends as well, so probably had to be like pretend to be really strong. It doesn't bother me.
I mean, I was pretty young. I was how old was I? About 9 or 10 when it came out. So
I was 21, but I bought it, I believe, back in the day.
Actually bought the game. I probably had it from a chip PlayStation, I reckon, but not to. I was a 10-year-old, so you can't really can't.
You can't blame you.
No, exactly. I was trying to get my way out of that then. So in case,
I think Sony won't come after you, seeing as it was 21 years ago. So yeah. I'm just looking at the one other game that I still have yet to play. I think I've explained why, because they want me to be aggressive with my Steam Deck. Is Heavy Rain came out on the PS3 14 years ago. Very much a fan of that game. I think I would be. It's just they want me to violently shake my Steam Deck, and I'm not going to do that. So unless I may try it again, see if there has been a better control scheme put up by somebody. But yeah, I'm not about to shake my £400 item quite violently just to brush my teeth.
A game I haven't played, I just noticed, but was 26 years ago tomorrow's Gex Enter the Gecko.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's an interesting 3D platformer. Yeah, it was good. It was sort of, it never quite reached the heights of your Crash Bandicoots or your Spyro, or your Mario, obviously. But it was okay. I think it got a sequel. But I think I remember playing it myself and being it was underwhelming. It was not one that you sort of went, oh my God, this is so good. It was just one that you went, yeah, it was all right.
My life, man.
If you can play it on an emulator nowadays, yeah, go for it. Yeah, you won't hate it. You'll just be, the next day you'll forget it. And then also 14 years ago, on pretty much everything that was out there, DS, PlayStation 3, Wii, Xbox 360, was one of Tom's favourite racing games, I think. I think he said he really liked it. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Was that the good one? Or was it the transforming one that was a good one? I can't remember. But basically, the Sonic racing ones haven't been too bad. That was 14 years ago. Makes me feel so old, the fact that I was in my 30s when that came out.
20s.
Such an old man. But yeah, that's about it, though.
Don't take it too hard on yourself.
Well, I'm well on my way to being 50 now, so if I want to look at the negative side of it, but I'm mid 40s, so it's not too bad. Not too old, is it?
Mid 40s is the new mid 20s, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I wish I wouldn't have so many aches and pains. And I probably wouldn't have such a big fat belly as well. But I suppose I can't blame that on the age.
To be fair, I mean, I'm mid 30s and I'm here sporting a 12-year-old haircut, so I need to sort my life. Hopefully, next episode that'll be.
Have you got to ask your mum to get it cut?
Yeah, get my mum to take me to the hairdressers so she can tell them what I want. I never know what to say. When I have a haircut, like I always have to take in a picture. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to explain what I want, so I just trawl through Google Images. I'm like, oh, that'll do, and just show them the picture.
Even with the interview, obviously people will notice that this is a bit shorter now. I just watched it before we came on, and I'm just sitting there just fiddling with it the whole time because it's a bit longer. So yeah, people might notice a slight difference in the fact that my beard was down here, my hair was like up here, kind of thing.
Oh, your beard's less now, is it? Okay.
Oh yes. I can't grab it now. Yeah.
I mean, I had a shave today, actually. That's why I'm here looking all baby face.
People can't see me. People listening can't see me looking at myself in the camera. Anyway, right. Well,
anyway,
I think that's all we need to do this week. Because yes, we had again. Hope everybody enjoyed the interview with Sam Dyer. Go and buy a book. Go buy a Bitmap Books.
Check out the website because you can.
He's got the N64 book that's coming out. I think in a couple of weeks. So give it a check. And if you're not an N64 fan, there's Commodore 64. There's Game Boy one. I think there's horror genre. There's all sorts of books that people should check out.
Tom loves them, doesn't he? I think Tom's got quite a few of them.
Tom's got at least 3, I think. One of them is one that I want. So, right. Well,
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, yes.
Good speaking to you as well, Duncan. And I'll see you next week.
Bye.